Alright, back with an update on how we're taking care of this broken manifold to turbo manifold bolt. As you can see, it's the third bolt here, and what I did was I don't know where I put, oh, it's still in the drill. That's a 2564 drill bit, which is the size that you would need for an M12 helicoil. And this is the helicoil here. It's an M12 1.5 pitch. On the inside, it's an M10, which is the same diameter as the stock bolt. The stock bolt is an M10, and that's what this is. So it will retain the same diameter. And once you drill out the manifold, as you can see, I'm tapping this. I'm about halfway through. I got a good amount already tapped. What you want to do is you want to be really, really careful in doing this. Do it slow. Don't ever force this, because you force this, you're going to snap this tap. And this tap is very, very hard. And if you snap that off in there, you're probably not going to get it out. Your drill bit's never going to get it out. Keep some good oil on there. I use this. This is Gibbs. This works really well. Keep your tap oiled, and once you get so far in there, I just, I take it out, and then I take my air compressor attachment, I stick it in there and blow out all the metal shavings and all of the, all the gunk that's coming out. And I also noticed my tap, after I pulled it out on the last run, it was getting a lot of crud was stuck in the thread makers. So it's as simple as that. Drill it out, tap it, install the helicoil, and I'll check back in when I'm done. Alright, I got that all tapped out, and the helicoil is mostly installed. I just wanted to get a quick clip of how I'm doing it exactly. There's usually a tool that you use to screw this in. I don't have it, but that little clip at the bottom that needs to be punched out, what you can do is, this is just a flathead screwdriver. Stick the flathead down in there and just twist it in. And once you get that lip down in there, okay, that's in there. As you can see, it's nice and flat. Maybe another turn. Okay, now what I'm going to do is, now that that's nice and flat, let's check and make sure that our bolt goes in. And it does. Beautiful. Okay. Now what you do, that little clip at the bottom, I'm just going to take my screwdriver, I'm going to stick it in there, I'm just going to give it a good whack, and it's going to snap off. And from there we'll be good to go. Alright, I've punched out the little clip that's down in there. So now I was able to thread my bolt in, and it really sucked. This has been the most labor-intensive part of doing this entire job. This car has really been a pleasure to work on. It hasn't been difficult at all. Everything went together really smooth, very simple. This one broken bolt was the only problem that I ran into, and it just so happened to be very labor-intensive. I mean, drilling, getting that out, and then all the running around that you got to do to get your hands on all this stuff. I mean, unless you have it on deck. But I will say, if you've never owned a turbo car, if this is your first turbo car, the exhaust flow and a tightly sealed exhaust system is one of the most important things. I mean, an exhaust leak is never good, but on a turbo, it's absolutely going to kill your performance, because the turbo is driven by the exhaust. So when the exhaust gases come out of the manifold, they go down into the turbo. It spins the exhaust wheel, which spins the compressor wheel, which compresses the air, runs through, gets into the throttle body. So if you have a leak here before the turbo, right here, if it's coming out here, you're not going to get the performance that you need to get. It's probably going to kill your gas mileage. But I know the performance effects that it can have, because I've had exhaust leaks in the past. My first car was a turbo, so I learned a great deal about them. And one thing that I learned is that you don't want to have an exhaust leak. The exhaust system has always got to be very well sealed. specifically before the turbo. If you have an exhaust leak back after the turbo cat, to my knowledge, it's not going to be as detrimental as a leak here or here. So this has got to be sealed, and with this helicoil in there, it was totally worth it, because the performance that I'm going to get out of it is worth it. If that bolt would have been gone, that would have just sputtered out all kinds of exhaust gas that my turbo needs to function properly. So take care of those exhaust leaks.